Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's morning gathering. As we listen to the waves, let's try to become aware of our breaths. This morning, I would like to read you a story from the book Connected Wisdom by Linda Booth Sweeney, Living Stories about Living Systems. A living system is one that changes over time. In a spider's web, what happens on one part of the web affects every other part. The same is true of a living system, whether it be an ant colony, a forest, or a city. Like a spider's web, a living system is so intricately woven that no part exists in isolation. Like a web, a living system is both purposeful and beautiful. With the wisdom of ancient storytellers, this book celebrates living systems, how they affect us and are affected by us. A kingdom lost for a drop of honey. One day, the king and his chief advisor stood by the open palace window, looking out onto the street below. They were having such a good time. They laughed and talked as they snacked on rice and honey. At one point, the king chuckled so hard that he spilled a drop of honey on the windowsill. "Allow me to wipe that up for you, your majesty," said the advisor. "Do not bother," said the king. "It is just a drop of honey. We have servants to take care of such things. Spilling need not concern us." So they continued to talk and eat and laugh. They did not notice that the drop of honey fell onto the street below. Soon a fly landed on the honey and began a feast of its own. And before long, a lizard spied the fly, pounced, and swallowed the fly whole. The lizard did not notice a cat slinking along in the shadows of the palace. Suddenly, she leaped forward and swallowed the lizard. Then, when the cat sat down to digest her dinner in the sun, a dog suddenly sprang out and attacked her. All of this made a great deal of noise. "Sire, should we send someone to stop this fight?" asked the advisor. "Do not bother," said the king. "It does not concern us." So they kept on eating and talking. Meanwhile, the owner of the cat arrived on the scene. He picked up a stick and began to beat the dog. But just at that instant, the owner of the dog appeared. He grabbed a stick and began to beat the cat. It was not long before the two men started hitting each other instead of the animals. "Sire, now there are two men fighting down there on the street. Shall we order some guards to put an end to it?" asked the advisor. The king stopped eating and looked down at the commotion in the street. "Do not bother. It does not concern us." The fight gathered onlookers. Some people sided with the cat owner, others with the dog owner. Soon the two groups attacked each other. "Sire, I fear things are getting worse," cried the advisor. "Now large groups of people are fighting. Should we not try to stop it?" The king just took another bite of rice and honey and said, "Do not bother. It does not concern us." Soldiers soon arrived to put an end to the fighting. But when they heard the cause of the fight, they took sides as well. Once the soldiers got involved, it turned into a full-blown civil war. Houses were burned down, and many people were injured. It was not long before the flames spread to the palace, and it too burned to the ground. The king looked at the ruins of his palace and admitted, "I guess I was wrong. That drop of honey did concern us." It took many years for the king to rebuild his palace. From then on, he was a much wiser leader who always listened carefully to others. He never forgot that even the smallest act can have great consequences. Perhaps we are used to thinking this way. If I make a small turn of the volume knob on my radio, I will get a small change in the volume. If I add some pressure on the gas pedal of a car, it will go faster in relation to how hard I pressed. But is this always the way things happen? What about traffic jams or a pandemic? Everything is connected, and sometimes the connections twist, curve, and loop. And so it can happen that even the smallest change can have enormous effect. Just like the king discovered the consequences of dropping a small drop of honey. Now let's join the mamas and the papas singing Puff the Magic Dragon.
The magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Little Jackie Paper loved that rascal Puff and brought him strings and sealing wax and other fancy stuff. Oh, Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Together they would travel on a boat with billowed sail. Jackie kept a lookout perched on Puff's gigantic tail. Noble kings and princes would bow whene'er they came. Pirate ships would lower their flags when Puff roared out his name. Oh, Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. A dragon lives forever, but not so little boys. Painted wings and giant's rings make way for other toys. One gray night it happened, Jackie Paper came no more, and Puff that mighty dragon, he ceased his fearless roar. His head was bent in sorrow, green scales fell like rain. Puff no longer went to play along the cherry lane without his lifelong friend. autumn mist in a land called Hanalei.
Have a wonderful day, everyone.